These poets are amazing. Front row, amazing. $50 extra in your pocket, amazing. Finger snap, amazing. Discovering a cliche for the first time, amazing. These people are simply amazing.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube. I am Joe Atticus Inch, and welcome to this week's edition of Poet Love. Now, this week's poet's been called a lot of things. You want some words for J.W. Baz? How about asshole, prick, cockmuncher? To add to that list, I'm gonna say good poet, talented man. Definitely one of my favorites and one of my biggest influences. J.W. Baz. Oh, I'm sorry, what's that name again? Or J.W. Basillo, as he likes to be called now. Now, Baz is a poet from Chicago. He has represented Chicago in various slams. He is a Pushcart Prize nominee. He is one half of the poetry comedy duo with Dan Sullivan called Beard Fight. Beard Fight. Every time I've seen that motherfucker, he barely has any stubble. This is a beard. He is an artist in residence for Real Talk Avenue, co-host of the Uptown Poetry Slam. He's the author and performer of the one-man show No One Can Fix You, accomplished musician, and the executive director of Chicago Slam Works. Well-la-dee-da! When I first met Baz, it was probably back in 2008, 2009, somewhere around that time. He did a feature at Black Pro Poetry, which is the venue that I was a regular at in that time. And I gotta be honest, I really didn't pay that much attention to his feature. Because it was shit. The reason that I didn't pay that much attention was because, well, I was writing a poem. It's a really shitty poem. If I would have paid attention, I could have probably learned how to write a better poem. But in doing what I do, I definitely like to support any artist who comes into the venues that I'm at. So I did buy his 2 CDs that he had. Love, Crimes, Etc. and Poet Laureate of Apartment 2E. And I played those CDs a lot, especially Love, Crimes, Etc. It is definitely probably one of the most played CDs in my collection of poetry CDs. And I just listened to it over and over and over again, and that's definitely where the influence part. I did meet Baz again back in 2010, I believe, when the Women in the World Poetry Slam was here in Columbus for the first time. And, you know, ever since then, and we've, you know, I always love seeing Baz. I have a feeling like we're friends, but you know. He thinks he has friends. Oh, I'm not talking about Baz, I'm talking about him. Yeah. And, you know, from there, it's just, Baz is a character. That, I think, is the best word that you can use to describe Baz. He is a character. Or asshole, either one. And you definitely see a lot more of that character in his definitely funnier poems, like Ex-Lover Countdown, Savannah G. Hey, you know. But as much as I love the funny stuff, and I mean, Ex-Lover Countdown is definitely an hysterical piece. So is Savannah G. Hey. About the Ballad for Tiny Dancer. I love so much that I wanted to read that at an open mic that I actually listened to the YouTube video and tried my best to copy down, go for it sentence by sentence, just copy it down. But there's definitely a lot more to Baz, and you definitely see that in his other works. Some that, the line forms to the left, Fissure, or New York as it's called, is definitely top 10 for me. I love the poem Fissure, or New York, or whatever it's called. It is such... It is a poem I definitely can relate to. Sadly, I guess you could say. And to definitely this is Baz's chapbook. I dare you to believe this. I got this when he did No One Can Fix You here in Columbus. At the time where I was still unemployed and I only had $10 in my pocket that my mom gave me for food. And I was already definitely deeply influenced by Baz when he came to do the show, and I really wanted the book. So I had to make a decision. Do I buy Baz's book or do I eat? I have Baz's book, so I think I made the right decision. It's just so funny because, with all the things that Baz says about himself and me, and that's another thing. I'm very big into self-deprecating humor, and so is Baz. You definitely hear that, especially in, like, Prick on 2E, Poet Laureate of 2E, the album. There is some good things about self-deprecating humor, and that's something we relate as. And have I talked about the musicianship on, like, with some of his stuff? There are a lot of videos online of him doing poems with his guitar and accompanied by music, and it was definitely, more on a Poet Laureate Apartment 2E, at a lot more musicianship to it, and he's really, that's really a talent that Baz possessed. That I think it's really hard to find that right blend between poetry and music, where it's like the music doesn't overshadow the poem, nor does the poem just sound like it's just being read towards music, but that's the idea of them, just how they blend, and how they can work off each other. And especially on, like, Pearl, a 9-minute poem on love, crimes, etc., is just brilliant. And Classifieds on Love, Crimes too. There are two of the reasons it's definitely one of the most played albums. And I feel like I am just stumbling here over my words because I really do have a lot of respect for Baz. With everything he shared in his work, and just his work in general, how it's hard for me to find those poets that I can definitely relate to a lot in almost every poem they do, and Baz is definitely one of those. So I suggest you can support Baz. His website, bustedmouth.com, links at the end of the credits. Check out his videos here on YouTube. And I guess on that note, we're gonna go into the magic shoebox. Pick out next week's poet. Until next time, I'm Joe Adkins, reminding you to keep your pens moving, live long and prosper. I will see you next